Diving into topic 4, Trove topics. I got a couple questions from the audience. This is where people tweet out and say, hey, talk about this thing, based on the news of the day or whatever the case may be. So feel free to, if you want to be a part of the show, tweet at Snarky Starky or at Trove Talk and use the hashtag Trove Topic, and we'll get you on the show. So up first, Jason Hales at HalesBells69, the originator of the PS We Love You XOXO movement in the Kind of Funny Facebook group. Great job there, Jason. He asks, what would you like to see?
Sorry.
Yeah, no. What would you like to see in Destiny 2? So rumors are breaking this week of Destiny 2 being A on PC and B being like going for a completely different feel of the Destiny franchise. You're still playing Destiny, right, Cameron?
Hell yeah, Rise of Iron just came out. Yeah. I'm rocking that. I'm already 352 light. It's a slow climb, but I was out of town for 5 days when everybody was doing the big climbs, so yeah. I'm a bit behind, I admit, but
I've been out of it since Dark Below, House of Wolves, whichever one came second. I did like both of those, and then
House of Wolves came second, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I have not been back. I didn't come back for Taken King.
Holy shit, you are there's so much that like has changed since then.
Oh yeah, I'm aware. It's just it's not the kind of thing I'm interested in diving back into. So so as far as what I'm looking to see in Destiny 2, it would be like a story mode, an engaging story mode, like right out the gate, as opposed to what we got in vanilla Destiny, because that just didn't draw me in. But outside of that, it's probably not something in my wheelhouse anyway, so I'll defer to you on this one, Cameron. What are you looking for in a Destiny 2?
I'm just going to say right off the bat 3 things here that I want to see in it, but before we get into those, I want to say what we do know from what has leaked is that the different feel that they're going is, instead of giving you like patrol maps that then can be instanced for missions and things like that, it looks like they're actually going to be doing, I forgot the way they described it, but it's going to be like play-in areas. So essentially you have a massive sandbox-like area that you'll be going through for different things. That's like kind of like the preliminary something that they've been talking about. As far as like the feel of the game that they're going for, I don't know. Like that could mean anything at this point. It's so open-ended. But I did want to make like a real point to say that what we do know is that they're going for a play-in, live-in type scenario with the maps going forward. At least that's what has been gleaned. Of course, this could change at any moment because it still hasn't even been officially announced.
Yes.
What I will say, the 3 things that I want to see from Destiny 2 are A, more interaction between Ghost and player. The Ghost is essentially just like exposition. The exposition bot that follows you around.
Yeah.
The Ghost has some super funny and witty lines, especially with Nolan North voicing them. Especially in like Rise of Iron. There's tons of stuff where your Ghost is talking to you and like talking about stuff you've been through together, but you don't ever answer back. You don't make jokes with your Ghost. The Ghost just makes jokes on his own. I would love to see I would love to see an interaction between Ghost and player, because in the few moments that you got that through the story mode, through the story missions, were great. Like when you call the Ghost Little Light and it upsets the Ghost. And he says, don't call me that. Like, that's funny. These are funny moments that can happen. And it feels like you lose those, and it's upsetting, because this could be a really cool dynamic between you and your Ghost, but you don't ever get it. And part of it, I feel, is like they didn't write that in, because all you have to do is like go through any of Kotaku's articles by Jason Schreier about the story of Destiny and the changes that went through, that we found out through the lawsuit from their composer. We found out a whole shit ton of stuff about like what was scrapped, what was changed, very, very late into development. The game definitely suffered for it, but I'm glad to see that it's on track of where it's going now.
I mean, in the original timeline that they talked about, we would have gotten Destiny 2 last year, wouldn't we? Was it wasn't it like every 2 years or something?
No, we would have gotten it this year, according to them. But that timeline was also where Destiny would have come out earlier than it actually did. So.
Right.
Also, they've totally changed up things, and like the Dreadnought and Oryx was supposed to be part of the original game, not part of the Taken King expansion. That was done later with assets and stuff that they already developed for the Taken King. Prior to that, like there's a whole lot of stuff that happens.
Yeah.
In so that's one.
The ghost interaction.
Ghost player interaction. Second thing,
no Android.
The city. The city is as much of a character in Destiny as anybody else, any of the other NPCs or anyone else, or any of your fellow players. The fact that you can never go into the city is incredibly upsetting. You never get to see the city that you're trying to protect. You're always up on your ivory tower. I thought it would be, like I've talked about it before with Chandler and I'm pretty sure I mentioned it on our podcast, just, for example, the Dead Orbit's all about getting off of Earth and spreading out like humanity across the universe as much as possible to try to escape the darkness and to prevent our species from going extinct. So wouldn't it be cool if they had like a shipyard that they all hung out at? Future War Cult has a temple in the city. We know that. New Monarchy would essentially just have their own political offices somewhere. And it would be really cool. And then to also have the consensus, which is essentially the governing body of humanity. And the Guardians themselves abide by the consensus. Like that's a major character group in Destiny lore, but you never interact, talk to, hear about anything about them outside of like what's going on in the grimoire or outside of it. Mm-hmm. Just there's no. Who cares that you're trying to protect the city when you don't ever get to know the city yourself?
Yeah. Do any of those factions does that mean anything in the expansions now, or is it still like just you get a different colored cape?
They do different things, like there are different weapons and stuff like that, but yeah, that's it. They haven't changed that. I wish they would, but
yeah, going to that, like there's no investment there if especially if you can just swap from one to the other and just grind out everything and get everything anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I would love to see that, just more life brought to the city, because there's so much opportunity there to do that. The third thing that I would like to see is a new way, like a new leveling system, a new light system, a new way of doing character progression. That is, I like what they're doing with light right now. I just wish they would do away with levels in general.
Okay.
So right now you level from 1 to 40, and then once you hit 40, you're just maxed out at 40, and then you're concerned about your light level, and your light level is essentially your gear level. I would prefer it if they just did gear level from beginning to finish. It's just a much simpler thing to follow. You don't have to like worry about grinding experience for levels. It becomes grinding experience for weapons to level those up. That's fine. I love that. I love using motes of light to kind of like circumvent that once you're a high enough level. Or once you're further into the progression of the game, you get motes of light like candy, and so you just use them to upgrade your equipment that's new.
Mm-hmm.
I love the infusion system. I think that's a brilliant way to keep old gear relevant, and I think that should be from the beginning with legendary gear going forward. I think they just need to do a hard reset on a lot of stuff. And something that they did say with like the rumors from unverified sources have come out saying that compared to what the Taken King was to the original Destiny, being a soft reset, like a soft reboot on how a lot of their systems and the game worked, that Destiny 2 is going to be focused on the big fixes. And I'm hoping that these are some of the big fixes. So.
Cool. Great. Thank you for your input, as my Destiny 2 knowledge is, or my Destiny knowledge period is severely lacking. And then up next, the other question we got in from Brandon Gann at Games Gann. Great dude. Thanks again, Brandon, for writing in. What is your most anticipated thing to see at the PSX keynote, confirmed or not? So PSX got announced finally, and we talked about it when I came on. I don't know if we talked about it on the show itself, but
we did, which is why it's never heard the light of day.
Right. So yeah, at PAX, me and a handful of other people had been kind of given the inside scoop that PAX was going to be first weekend of December in a non-San Francisco, California city. And then like a couple people later said, oh yeah, it's going to be Anaheim. And then we were also told that it was going to be announced September 9th. And then September 9th came and went and no announcement. And then in the last week, it leaked when the website went live. And then like an hour or two later, they made it so you can actually, like, they formally announced it and you could buy tickets and stuff.
Register.
First weekend in Anaheim, first weekend in December in Anaheim, just as had previously been rumored and mentioned. No idea why it took a few extra weeks off of what we were told, but so that's happening. You're getting to go this year, so that's
yeah. I'm really excited. Not only just because I get to go to PSX, but also because I get to talk to people in a much more business-like manner than Kind of Funny Live was, as far as like industry people that I want to talk to.
Gonna have some business cards and meet developers and hand out business cards and try and get them on the Knotty Gamers mailing list and stuff.
You know it, and I already like my pseudo little brother has already designed business cards for me. I'm just gonna have him make a few alterations, and they're gonna be business cards that nobody's gonna forget, but for the right reasons.
Okay.
So are they gonna be strange and weird? Yes, but are they going to be like gross and disturbing? No.
Good call. That is a solid call there. So you, as someone new to PSX, but you've followed presumably and seen the keynotes from the previous two, at least
Yes.
the last one, I imagine. So yeah, what is your most anticipated thing to see at PSX?
I know it's the same thing that we say every year, but like the name change. Like I just want to see the name change. I just want the name change.
You just want to correct your spelling?
I just want to swap 2 letters. Is that too much to ask? Is it too much to ask to just swap 2 letters?
Clearly it is. That's like, even if that were to happen, I wouldn't say that's like, unless they have a bad show, that's not going to be the biggest thing.
Oh,
it's
no.
like the nerdiest thing for like our little circle of people.
Yeah,
But, like, so many people don't care about that. I'm gonna say, and it's not like, I don't know if it'll be there. I think it'll be there because that's when they showed more of it last year than I think anybody was anticipating. But Final Fantasy VII, I think with Final Fantasy 15 will have finally, fingers crossed, have launched at that point in time. And so this is like a few days after that launch. I think they'll maybe do like a victory lap of, hey, you can go buy this game now finally. And so now we're focused on Final Fantasy VII Remake, and here's where we're at with it. We didn't see it at E3, so I think that's a shoe-in to, like, that is easily got the biggest pop of last year's PSX.
Especially with how far they had developed it.
Yeah, it was like in terms of that, like, we only saw maybe like a few minutes of that first bombing mission, but it was definitely like we were seeing gameplay, which was more than anybody anticipated. It is further than anybody anticipated it being along. So I think we'll get a new look at that, and maybe more concrete information of when like part 1 of that is going to come out or whatever, since they're doing it as like a multi-part fashion or something like that. So yeah, that's what I would say my most anticipated thing is, even though that's not like, I'm not overly excited for that game. Final Fantasy VII's fine, but it's not the Final Fantasy remake I've been clamoring for years. I want a remake of 6, as I touched on in my pilot episode, that being my favorite game of all time. But yeah, I think that's a solid. We'll see something of that, since we didn't see it at E3. We'll see some kind of where are they at with Final Fantasy.
I would say, in the same vein as something that I may not be excited for, but I know everybody else will be for, a sneak peek at the next Naughty Dog project. Yeah.
I mean, do you think maybe we'll get a taste of the DLC, the single player DLC from?
I think we'll get we'll definitely. We might even see a demo, like a live player, like you can play a part of the new DLC. That story, maybe not play it, but they'll show a trailer for it for sure.
Yeah.
However, I think what we would probably be seeing also is like, do you remember? I think it was at the first PSX where they did the first tease for Drake's Fortune, not Drake's Fortune, Thief's End.
The at the first PSX was the first gameplay. They did gameplay on stage.
Yeah.
Bruce came out and played it, and that was that he fell through the world, and the audience was incredibly forgiving.
Yeah.
And then at PSX 2 was that was when they revealed like the opening scene with Sam and the dialogue options.
That's right.
Everybody was like, "Oh my god, that's amazing!" And then it ended up being like two things in the
it had nothing to do with the game. They just thought, it'd be nice. You get to choose which one of the thing you want to tell your brother about.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking of the like first teaser trailer that actually didn't pan out the way we thought it would.
You're talking like the Madagascar voiceover with the original Sam actor. That was I think that was like the VGA's.
That's what that was.
Like
that was the VGA's. Okay.
It was like a year or two before, because this was the first PSX was like the first time they were showing off the game, first time they showed off gameplay footage, and they played it. They did a live demo on the stage.
So I'm thinking we'll definitely see a live demo of, at least on the stage, and then like trailers throughout the show, of course, for just as we're walking the floor, we're going to see stuff about the story expansion or the story DLC. But what I'm also thinking we might see is like a little teaser like we saw with the Madagascar voiceover for the next project, whether that's Last of Us 2, whatever it might happen to be, an original IP, which they've been rumored to be working on. Mm-hmm. I think we'll see something from that.
It's a solid choice. And that's all we had for actual questions asked in. So I just wanted to kind of continue opening it up into more PSX talk, since this will be your first one. Like, what are you excited for in PSX outside of like that keynote announcement? You mentioned excited to get to see everybody, get to kind of schmooze and trying to make those business connects.
It's something like that, but mostly I'm hoping that some people that I got to talk to at Kind of Funny Live 1 that I didn't get to talk to at Kind of Funny Live 2 will be there that I can talk to. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out where I am, like where I'm looking at going in the industry. Because right now what I'm doing with Chandler at Knotty Gamers, that's great, but, that's not paying them bills,
Yeah.
It's not is Knotty Gamers going to be this big future thing for us? Maybe not, but I'd like to know what direction I can look at be heading in for that. Because I have an interest in this industry and I have a passion and love for it, but it's a question of what can I offer it? And I'm still trying to figure that out, and that's a huge question to answer, and I doubt I'll find the answer at PSX, but at the same time, I do want to just, talk to some people, catch up with people, friends of ours that I haven't seen since Kind of Funny Live 2, some of them that couldn't go to Kind of Funny Live 2, who are going to be at PSX. I'm excited to see just old friends again.
Yeah.
But also I'm just really excited to go to an actual industry thing, because all I've ever done is Kind of Funny Live stuff, which is like our community something, but to go to like an actual industry thing. I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to, like you put it, the schmoozing, but I'm looking at it more just, rub elbows with people who I admire in this industry and who, contribute to the things that I love. And I want to just do that, I guess. That's a huge part of it. Just socialize, which is so funny coming from me. I'm a big old hermit in my life, but I just want to, I want to meet with people, hopefully some people who, like, they haven't announced whether or not they're going to be there or not. I'm hoping that they'll be there so I can talk to them again.
Cool.
Or talk to them for the first time.
There you go. Do you anticipate, I think VR will probably be a big showcase on the floor.
Yeah, I'm going to be rocking a bunch of VR for sure.
Yeah. Try and get your hands on that. Download the PlayStation app, the Experience PlayStation app, because that's what they've been doing at every show for the last year or so. It's like you have to sign up for your time on the app.
Okay, that's interesting. All right.
Yeah, I think it actually started at last year's PlayStation Experience, and it was like, okay, we're gonna have like these are the half-hour blocks, and we've got like 20 slots in each block, and so just find a time and and sign up for it, and that's so you don't have to wait in line for all day. It's just
That sounds
there for
awesome.
that block of time, but they fill up super fast. So, but yeah, that's kind of been their way of tackling VR specifically. And yeah, I imagine with it being out on the market, and maybe people will actually be able to like buy new units by then. I imagine it'll be a huge, like anything that would have been like 2 years ago, they would have had like PS3 setups and Vita setups at the first first one. I think you'll see like that plus in terms of VR setups.
Oh, we haven't talked about it. The slew of Vita releases that are going to be announced.
Oh, of course. I mean, you will probably get a handful of Vita games, and I imagine they will be like, I think like an announcement of something like Undertale coming to Vita or
that'd be huge.
PlayStation that'd be a huge get. I mean, they've already announced that Stardew Valley should be coming out around that time, around December. I think is when they're trying to get those ports out by end of the year. I don't think Stardew Valley will come to Vita, but
that's it's too much for Vita.
Yeah, I'm sure you can play it on remote play if you want to deal with like the back touchpad and stuff.
Oh no, I'm good.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I don't anticipate we'll see like new exclusives announced for the Vita, but I'm sure
the Vita games
following the trends of the last couple of years, you'll have Geo come out for like 5 minutes and he'll be like, and here's new games coming to PlayStation, and like 5 of them are also coming to Vita as cross-buy, and it'll be part of like the indie segment of games or something like that.
Geo Corsi's my man. I love Geo Corsi.
Yeah.
Geo, I follow him on Twitter. We have had some playful banter back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Big fan of that gentleman.
He's a delightful guy. Yeah, I like getting to see. I gave him one of my Trevor Trove pins at him and Adam Boys. They were hanging out, visiting with some of us at the kind of funny party at PAX, and I showed them off my pins, and they were like, "This is amazing! You have your own pins," and I was like, "Yeah, enjoy." Yeah, super cool dudes. And this was after Adam Boys had already left, I guess. But yeah, super cool. I look forward to getting to see them again. Yeah, I mean, like it's cool getting to go to these things and getting to see industry people as well as friends and friends that I'm making with industry people. Shows like that. Yeah, I mean, like PSX for me tends to be like, this is when I'm gonna go and go hands-on with like a lot of the indie games and stuff like that. Like I don't really like. I'm trying to think if I played Ratchet and Clank a little bit at last year's PSX, and I did the Uncharted 4 multiplayer. But for the most part, like, because the lines for the big first-party games are just so long, I'm like, yeah, nope. I'll just wait a couple months and play it when it comes out. Like Horizon Zero Dawn, I'm sure is going to be have a huge presence at. I
hope they have those block things in the PlayStation Experience app for that.
Yeah, so that'll be like, that's probably one I'll just be like, well, unless I can get in there on like media time or something like that, and get to kind of experience it outside of waiting 2 hours in line for the game, I'll probably just pass on it. Now that South Park got delayed, I imagine we'll see that there in whatever
that'll be
it's
awesome.
in. So I hopefully get to, but that's another one that like at PAX, the line to play like the demo they had was super long and hours, and they capped it like a couple hours into the day. So yeah, I mean, there's a ton of stuff out there that I'm sure we'll see, and it'll be interesting because I think everybody kind of over-anticipated what kind of big announcements we would get last year, and then when you only had really Ni no Kuni 2 and what they showed of Final Fantasy VII Remake, like everything else I think was kind of underwhelming.
Definitely.
I mean, I will say we'll also probably see some Tim Schafer time because he's been a staple. He'll have Full Throttle will probably come out and announce a release date for that, because that's been the trend. The first one they announced Grim Fandango, and then last year they announced the release date of Grim Fandango and announced Day of the Tentacle, or something like that. They announced Day of the Tentacle, and then no, last PSX they gave a release window for Day of the Tentacle, and announced Full Throttle. So I think this year we'll see a release date for Full Throttle and maybe something for like Psychonauts 2. I think
I'm pretty sure Psychonauts 2 will see something from them on.
Yeah, because that's probably.
I mean, that's what they're working on right now. So
yeah, and the Psychonauts VR will probably be on the game floor.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I hope they do panels. That's one of the things I missed of last year that they did. They had a lot of stuff. The first year they had like 3 or 4 rooms going where they had like panels every couple hours. It was more of a it was more of a PAX than last year. Last year was like, we're doing 5 or 6 panels on this Saturday in the one main hall, and then Sunday that space was used entirely for the Capcom Cup, which I don't really have any kind of investment in. So I'd love to see more panels of developers talking about games and the work on games, and kind of like the industry stuff that we were talking earlier. Like, I love the stories of making the games, and I'd love to hear more of that. Like, even last year, like a ton of us were in the room early just so we had like great seats for the PS I Love You XOXO panel, but the panel right beforehand was like talking about the AI in Call of Duty, and I was fascinated by it.
Yeah, that sounds fascinating.
It was like other people were like snoozing next to me, but it was interesting, and it's those kinds of things that like, it's why GDC is probably the show I would love to cover more than anything else.
Yes.
Just to go and like listen to developers talk about
developing,
why they made design choices and stuff like that. So I'd love to cover that even more than like an E3.
E3 is all flash and flare. It's not the guts. It's not the design. It's not the like. GDC is where you get the good stuff.
Yeah, and so I like even that one. I was like, this is not the audience for that. This is a GDC type panel. I'm loving it, but I knew the audience was not necessarily with them. But I'd still love to see like that opportunity, that option. Because the panels of the first PSX are probably some of my favorite things of the first PSX, and they give you something to do if you're not interested in waiting in line to play something for 4 hours. So
that sounds awesome. I want panels. I want to go to something that has panels.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is my first industry show. This is my first trade show that I've ever been to, and I'm excited. I'm out of my mind excited about this. So,
well, I look forward to seeing you there, buddy.
For sure.
Glad you're able to make it to this one.
Yeah.
So, I think with that, and sitting at probably nearing 4 hours. Yep, about 3:45. Right on par there with the Alex episode. Awesome. We'll go ahead and call it. Thank you again to my guest, Cameron Abbott from @Knotty Gamers, for joining me. Go ahead and plug everything you want to plug, Cam.
All right, cool.
As we do this little outro.
So I'm the Reverend Cameron Abbott, the unsexiest comedian that you know in the man whose face is built for radio. You can follow me at Unsexiest Comedy. You can follow me on Facebook.com/Knotty Gamers. KnottyGamers.com has links to basically all of the Knotty Gamers shit. SoundCloud.com/Knotty Gamers. Everything goes up there. So
awesome. I'm Trevor Starkey at Snarky Starkey on Twitter, or you can follow Trove Talk at Trove Talk. Enjoy this episode or last episode with Alex O'Neill, or the previous pilot episode that was only half as long as these two with just me talking, because it makes sense. I didn't have somebody else to talk with. And until next time, thanks for being here. Insert closing tag that I still need to come up with.